Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your boy C-Pims here. Well, as you guys saw in my last video, we ended up doing soil tests for both my backyard and my front yard. Now, this video, what we are going to be doing is going over those test results with you guys. So, I went ahead, I set my soil test out on a Monday and I got the results back on Friday. So it took about 5 days for me to get my results back. Now, my soil, the company I used, is located in Washington and I'm in Cali, so they're only 2 states away from me, so hence why I got a quicker turnaround on mine. But they usually say it takes about around a week to 9 days to receive your results back, so just to keep that in mind for you guys when you go ahead and do this test. Alrighty guys, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. Now I am going to be reading the results off my phone here, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and start off on the backyard. And I'm also going to throw both charts up, whether it's split on one side here and one side here, or I put them on both just on one side. You guys will go ahead and see that, and you'll be able to see the breakdown of what I'm looking at as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and read them off to you guys. So right off the bat, what I'm going to go ahead and do is start off with pH, because that's how it reads as far as the raw soil data part. So my pH, as you can see in my backyard, is a 6.81, which is in its optimal range. The optimal range for that is a 5.8 to 7.0. So obviously I'm in the optimal range on there, which is really good. I'm glad that's the case. Now, to be honest too, what I want to go ahead and throw out is, to be honest, I was really kind of surprised by my results. To be honest, I thought it would have been a lot worse than what they are. Moving on. After pH, as you guys can see, my nitrogen is really low. I'm at 1.61, and the optimal range for that is 7.0 to 8.0, or 7 to 8. So I'm gonna definitely be addressing that this season. Definitely gonna start applying a lot more nitrogen. So yeah, and then moving on to the phosphorus. As you can see, phosphorus is quite high at 24.91. Optimum range is 5 to 11. Now, I think the phosphorus is mainly high here in the back because of the fertilizer I was using all last season, which I was using a 6-20-20, which is a starter fertilizer. And since my grass was so new, that's why I was using that in specific with on my paspalum, and they recommended to use it. So that's why I used it quite a bit here in the backyard. So that's why I think my phosphorus is quite high. So moving forward on to this season, I'm going to try and use fertilizer that has very little to zero phosphorus in it. Moving on after that, we got potassium. Potassium is low, as you guys can see, at 24.81, and then the optimum range being 38 to 72. So I'm obviously going to be addressing that as the same way I'll be addressing my nitrogen deficiency as well. So basically, just off of reading that, as you guys can tell, I'm going to be looking at fertilizers that mainly contain nitrogen and potassium, a good amount of it, and then obviously little to no phosphorus in those same fertilizers. So yeah, okay, and then moving on to, we got sulfur and calcium. Now, these are both high. I'll just say right now, these are both high as far as both results for my backyard and my front yard. They're both pretty high. My sulfur is high at 99, and then the range for that is 7 to 16. So quite high, really high on that one. And then my calcium is just way up in the stratosphere. It's in the 700s, which is just absurd. But the reason why I think my calcium is so high is just because the as you guys saw actually in the soil testing video, when I was actually showing me pulling the cores out and everything and actually doing the soil test and shipping it out, I think that's because of the soil type I have, which is that hard compacted gray clay soil that I have, as you guys saw in that video. So I'm not concerned about that. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, unless if I were to go crazy and just take all this clay out and put new stuff in, I'm obviously not going to do that. But yeah, so calcium and sulfur is kind of gonna be what it is. I don't really think there's a whole lot I can do about that besides when I apply fertilizers, I just need to make sure that there's really no calcium or sulfurs in them. So moving on after that, as you can see, my magnesium is low here in the back at 23.83, optimum range at 28 to 67. So it is a little low. Try and address that as well going into this season. Sodium, as you guys can see, is in the optimum range, which is at optimum range for sodium is 0.5 to 30. So we're at 20.58, so that's good. Good on that. And then all my micronutrients is low. My iron, my manganese, my zinc, copper, and boron, as you guys can see in the charts, those are all low. So I'm gonna definitely be addressing those as well here in the back for sure. So now, one quick thing that I want to note to you guys is 4 things you guys should be looking at as far as like soil test and like obviously how healthy your soil is and how it's doing. Your main 4 things you want to look at is pH for one, and then right after that is your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and your potassium. Those 4 things are, I would say, the biggest key factor into having your lawn looking good. Those are basically the 4, obviously nutrients that your soil and grass needs for it to thrive and for it to do well, have good color, all that, and just look really nice. So obviously, and then micronutrients are just as important, but I would say obviously if you're just getting into it, I would really focus on the main 4 that I stated. So yeah, so now that we got the backyard cover, we'll go ahead and move on to my front yard results right now. Alrighty guys, now moving on to my front yard results. I'll throw those charts up as well so you guys can see them. Same thing, starting off with pH. My pH is actually a little bit lower in the front yard at 6.61 and the optimum range being 5.8 to 7.0. So that's really good as well. So honestly, with both my backyard and my front yard, my pHs are spot on and in a good place. So obviously my main goal is to try and maintain those. If anything, maybe just drop them just a tad. But to be honest, I would like, ideally, this is me really nitpicking here, I would love to stay around that 6.5 to 6.6 range for me in my case. So that's good. And then moving on to my nitrogen, again, is really low, just like here in the backyard. It's really low at 1.61. So yeah, we'll definitely be addressing that as well. Like I said, just like the backyard. And then moving on to phosphorus. My phosphorus is actually in the optimum range in the front yard. Now, I would contribute that to not... I did throw some of the 6-20-20 down out there in the front yard too, but not as much as I did back here in the backyard. So that's really good. So I'm glad my phosphorus is in the optimum range there in the front. So again, I could still apply more if I want to, but to be honest, since it's already in the optimum range, I'm not going to be going too crazy with phosphorus. So again, it's going to be very low phosphorus or no phosphorus at all. So and then moving on to potassium, again, as you guys can see, is low at 13.38, and then the optimum being 38 to 72. So again, just like my backyard, I'm gonna be looking into applying potassium as well in the front too, to bring those up like the back. So, and then again, as you guys can see here, sulfur and calcium are way up there again. My calcium again is up in the stratosphere, I mean in the 700s as well, and then my sulfur is a little bit higher actually out in the front. I would contribute that to probably the gypsum I just put down, might be some of that, but to be honest, my backyard has higher calcium level than my front yard does, and the gypsum does have a lot of calcium in it. So it just goes to show you that, you know, even though I just put the gypsum down, my backyard has a higher calcium count than my front yard does. So just going to show you that the gypsum I did put down didn't really do a whole lot. It didn't affect my pH, obviously, and it didn't really, I mean, affect anything maybe besides my sulfur and maybe possibly some of my calcium. But like I said, compared to my backyard, I haven't put gypsum down in like over a year back here. So it's pretty interesting to see that. And then moving on after that, we got magnesium. my magnesium level is actually better out there in the front in the optimum range at 41.69, and then at obviously the optimum range being 28 to 67. So that's good. I'm glad that's the case out there. Um, Moving on after that, sodium level is a little bit high out there at 44.41, and then the obviously the optimum range being zero point 0.5 to 30. So yeah, probably obviously just don't have to really apply any sodium as well, really there, or I want to try to not do that. So and then again, rolling right into the micronutrients, just like the same here in the backyard. All my micros are really low. Iron's low, magnesium's low, zinc's low, copper's low, and boron's all low. Those are all low. So now, with all that being said, and you guys seeing the graphs and everything, what I want to go ahead and do is kind of just put it all together for you guys. So basically, my game plan for this season for both my backyard and my front yard is going to be applying fertilizers that have very little to probably zero phosphorus in them. So that would be, just for example, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Don't quote me and be like, oh, they don't even carry that fertilizer. But like that'd be like me just, for example, that'd be like me putting out like a 2407. So zero phosphorus, but has a good amount of nitrogen and has some potassium in there. Obviously, I could also do it differently too and do like a lot of nitrogen and zero phosphorus, zero potassium. I could do it that way too. And then after doing that, I could also do like zero nitrogen, zero phosphorus, and a lot of potassium. But I'm not going to do it that way. I just think it's honestly a little too much like navigating as far as all that goes. But so my main thing is I'm going to want to apply fertilizers, like I said, that have pretty much zero phosphorus or very little phosphorus in them. So that's what I'll be looking at there. And then obviously I'm gonna want to find, if I can probably find some other fertilizers or just try and find some other stuff that I can put down that has a lot of micronutrients in it. So that'll be, and I actually have a fertilizer right now, which I might go ahead and grab and show you guys. I've used it before last year, and I really like the results I get off of it. It's Mirimichi Green's NutriTurf 323 fertilizer. That stuff's really good, and it has a lot of micronutrients in it. The iron is in there. I think it has manganese in there. I know it has zinc in there. I don't have the label in front of me, so I don't know right off the top of my head what all is in there, but I'll definitely be using that quite a bit this year, just because it has the micros in there and it has a good amount of percentage of those micros in it. So I'll be using that, and then I'm probably gonna try and get another like liquid fertilizer that is. I've already looked at one like an 1806, and it has a lot of micros in it. Like it has almost all the micros that I need to apply in it. So I'm probably gonna look into getting that. I think it's called 1806 the Classic. I think I was looking at it earlier, but yeah. Anyways. That's probably what we're going to be doing. That's how I'm going to be going about this season for me, in specific, obviously, between both my backyard and my front yard. But yeah, you guys, well, as you guys saw, we went ahead and went over the results, obviously from the soil test I did. Everything, like I said, I was honestly pretty impressed and surprised at how well my soil is currently. And keep in mind, this is my first ever soil test, as far as, obviously doing this and, having my soil read and analyzed and all that stuff. It's my first time ever doing this, and all the years I've been doing this, as far as my own lawn, this is the first time I've had soil tests done for my own lawn. So to be honest, it's kind of cool to see that even though what I was doing as far as like applying 6-20-20 here in the back and just what I was doing in the front, that I had a good gauge of what my lawn needed, what the soil needed, and I was in a good kind of mindset as far as what to apply, what not to apply, and all that sorts of stuff. And basically I was doing that just off of what the grass looked like and what I thought it could use and need. And now seeing my results, as you guys saw too, it just goes to show now I can just up that and amplify that even more and get that nitrogen in check and get that potassium in check and then get those micronutrients in check. And I think both my backyard and my front yard are just gonna start thriving. I really think it's gonna come out great, especially once we do the front yard with new sod, which here in the next probably month or two we should be getting to that. So you guys are gonna have to stay tuned for that. I'm really excited for that. I can't wait for that to happen because I'm tired of looking at it just bare as it is now. So yeah. Also, you guys, I gotta throw this in here real quick. Watch out and stay tuned for next video. I got a big surprise for you guys. I think you guys are gonna be pretty stoked to see the surprise I got for you guys. So like I said, you're just gonna have to stay tuned and keep an eye out. But yeah, you guys, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead, smash that thumbs up button for me. It really helps me out. It lets me know what you guys are enjoying my channel, as I always say. It helps, you know, just spread my channel and my videos out into the YouTube algorithm. So I would appreciate if you smash that thumbs up button. After doing that, go ahead, smash that subscribe button down below and hit the bell notifications. That way you can get notified for when I upload new videos. Also, after doing that, go ahead, check out my social medias in the description below. I got personal Instagram and I got my photography Instagram. Go ahead, check those out. And with all that being said, it's your boy C-Pims. Peace out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.